everyone, Krithi here, and that was just my way of making sure you guys don't fall asleep. Ever since we were born, there's been a path that has been lit for us. At least for those of us who have been fortunate to have people who have formed these paths for us. These paths shape how we see the world, our values, morals, what we think are right and wrong. Ever since I was a kid, I've mostly tried to do what I thought was the right thing, what I had always seen being done. I was very obedient. Not because I was forced to be, but because I genuinely thought that what I was doing was the only right thing. I was so obedient that I would turn myself in if my school uniform was wrong. I didn't really look beyond my path, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't feel the need to. I just assumed that anything else was wrong or scary. Walking on this path that I had been following felt like autopilot. I didn't have to think too much, I just had to keep going. But doing the same things every day started to feel a little repetitive. And that's when I started noticing things. People who were not doing what I was doing looked a little carefree, less calculated. That's when I wondered, is it wrong for me to just waver a little from what I thought I had to follow? Or did I just assume that it was wrong? I didn't suddenly change everything. It wasn't dramatic. I just shifted a little. In ninth standard, I started becoming more talkative in class. I was talking to everyone, cracking jokes, and somewhere in all that, I actually found my sense of humor. I was playing rubber band wars with my friends and even pranking teachers in class by making phone vibration sounds. I think someone's is ringing right now. Anyways, I was just having so much fun, which, according to my teachers, was a major personality update. They even mentioned it to my parents that it was nice to be seeing me coming out of my shell, because that's what was happening. I was coming out of my shell. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just tried to do things that I hadn't allowed myself to try before. And I liked it. There was a sense of freedom in that. Around this time was when a major landmark in my Naksha was formed. I got introduced to beatboxing by my school seniors at an unconventional music competition. I learned Carnatic classical singing, but I've always wondered what it would be like to make beats using my mouth. You know, all of us vibe to a catchy beat like, right? But that was when I first saw people actually make loud, crispy, bassy beats using just their mouth. And I was like, bro, absolute cinema. I've always wanted to do this. That's when I decided that I wanted to learn the skill of making beats with my mouth using no instruments, which I learned then was called beatboxing. Not sure how boxing is involved, but yes. Then lockdown happened. During lockdown, YouTube was my friend. It had always been, but now even more so. I think it was everyone's friend at that point. And I looked up YouTube tutorials to learn beatboxing, and I practiced and practiced and practiced. I wasn't good from the start, obviously. I was making weird sounds all the time. At the dining table, in the bathroom. My sister was so annoyed. She still is. And my mother was just like, please, can you stop making pig grunting sounds all the time? Then school reopened in class 12th. And I was in a new school. This school only knew the funny, free, myself, me. And I made it quite evident of my interest towards music and percussion and joined my school band. For Founders Day in school, I performed with my band, not just as a singer, but as a beatboxer for the first time. And it worked beautifully. My mother had never seen me enjoy on stage as much as I did that day. I was dancing and vibing and hitting those beats like I was beating and boxing them. People really enjoyed. And That moment felt incredible because this was something I had found for myself, and now I was sharing it. The joy I felt learning and performing was something I wanted to share with the world. So, with this newfound confidence in my newfound skill, I decided that I wanted to post a beatboxing reel on Instagram. But then came a very real question: should I actually post this? Yes, people did like my performance, but this is a reel that's going to go publicly. This is going to be available on the internet. People might judge me for it. How many of you guys, okay, quick show of hands, how many of you have always wanted to post something but haven't? So many people. And so many of you have such top tier content just lying in your drafts or lying in your spam account to your few close friends, right? That's when I got this Nike swoosh shaped light bulb in my path, and I thought, let's just do it. So I posted my very first beatboxing reel on Instagram, and people supported it. Without any expectation, my page grew from 137 followers to 1000 pretty quickly. And at that time, that felt like a lot. So I posted another reel. And as DJ Khalid says, another one. And 1000 became 1 lakh. 1 lakh became 2 lakhs. Thank you. And at this point, my parents, the same people who were confused by my weird sounds, were my biggest supporters. They were checking my page, reading all the comments, tracking growth. At this point, they were more invested than I was. I'm also the reason why they're now addicted to Instagram. They know all the trending audios. They tell me content ideas. They also send me lots of brain rot. I did not plan on that. But what really stayed with me were the people who reached out. People who felt inspired to try something just because they saw me try something. And that's when I realized that I can also be a light to someone else's path. And all of this opened up opportunities for me in ways I never expected. I got the chance to act in a couple of TV commercials for Amazon and McDonald's, which is still a little crazy to me because all of this started with me just making weird sounds in my room. Coming on TV, being on a billboard, featuring on the cover page of a magazine, all of these are opportunities I never ever expected. And they just happened because I started. That's when I also realized that nobody tells you this stuff. Nobody tells you how to go about this route. You just start and figure things out on your way. But now, things again started to shift a little. As more and more people were watching my content, I started becoming more aware of what I was putting out. I became more conscious of what people would like, what would perform better, what would engage better. And I did not enjoy it the same way anymore. I started to try to meet expectations I had created in my own head based on what I thought people would like or what would perform well. And when something did not do well, I would just not create, not post. I would just sit and overthink. Overthinking made my thinking over. And that feeling is worse than failing because at least when you fail, you're moving on. But here, you're just stuck. So I paused and I asked myself, why did I start this in the first place? And the answer was simple, because I liked it. So I went back to that. I started creating content that I enjoyed, that I felt satisfied with, that I wanted to post. And I was moving again. It didn't matter to me whether something performed well or not. I was just happy to be creating and posting content that I was happy with. Coming back to my Naksha. Yes, we all begin with something that guides us, and that's very important. However, there's no life map that is made out for you. Some things you'll only discover when you step a little outside. Your map is what you make of it as you walk through it. The paths you choose to take, the routes that you go along, and the hurdles that you jump across are all you. And in those moments, you don't need everything figured out. All of us, someday we just head out to go somewhere and we were like, chalte chalte dhoond lenge, right? You don't need a perfect plan. All you need to do is start. How do you know it won't work if you haven't even tried it yet? I know many of you, most of you have something in your mind right now. So try it, post it. And I promise you guys, this talk is not sponsored by Nike, but just do it. Of course, have fun while doing it, because you never know what place you might end up at because one step that you make in your Naksha. Thank you so much, everyone. And I just want to say one more thing. Thank you. Beatboxing is actually very easy. All you need to know are 3 words: boots and cats. Say it with me, guys, and don't stop, okay? Boots and cats and boots and cats and... Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. Have a great day ahead.